All right, so again, for page 20, you should have chapter 5 vocabulary. And for page 21, it needs to be 5.1 ratios. Okay. All right, and you need to put 5.1 ratios. Okay. From your vocab yesterday, you know that ratios compare two quantities. Ratios compare two quantities. Some key words to look for when you're talking about ratios, how you know they're talking about a ratio, some key words would be the word each, the word per, or the phrase for every. So those are some key words that tell you that they're talking about a ratio. So if you see these words, that means it's a ratio. Okay? And how you read a ratio, it's read A to B. You say, whenever you read a ratio, you say A to B. And the A and B represents numbers. So it could be like 1 to 2, 2 to 3, 6 to 7, 7 to 4. That's how you read a ratio. And the different ways that it can be written, it can be written as A to B. It can be written A colon B. You can put a colon there, but you still read it as A to B. You could also write it as a fraction, A over B. Okay? So those are the three different ways that you can write a ratio. You can write it out in words, write it with a colon, or write it as a fraction. Okay? And the next thing is the value of a ratio. And the value of a ratio is the fraction written as a fraction, A over B. That's the value. So for instance, if the ratio was 2 to 3, the value would be 2/3. So the ratio 2 to 3 would equal 2/3. The ratio 4 to 1 would be 4 over 1 or just 4. Okay? So that's the value of the ratio. You just put it as a fraction. Okay? And then the last thing, equivalent ratios. Equivalent ratios. All right, some examples of equivalent ratios. How you can determine if they're equivalent. Let's say you have the ratio 1 to 3. You have the ratio 1 to 3. An equivalent ratio would be 2 to 6. Okay. How I know they're equivalent is I would have to multiply 1. I would have to multiply it by 2. And I would have to multiply 3 by 2. It's just like equivalent fractions. You know, if you multiply them by the same number, the numerator and the denominator, they're equivalent. Same thing with ratios. As long as you are able to multiply them by the same number to get the other ratio, it would be equivalent. So, for instance, let me do another example, 2 to 3. I want to find an equivalent ratio. So to do that, I would multiply them both by the same number. Let's say I want to multiply them both by 3. So I multiply 2 by 3. 2 times 3 is 6. And then I multiply 3 times 3. And 3 times 3 is 9. Okay? So 2 to 3 is the same as 6 to 9. They're equivalent ratios. Okay? All right. What questions do you have for me? Okay. And what we're going to do first thing you're going to do is you're just going to watch this video. Okay. So watch the video and pay attention.
You have the marbles shown. 7 red marbles, 4 green marbles, and 9 blue marbles, totaling 20 marbles. Part A. Write the ratio of green marbles to red marbles. 4 green marbles and 7 red marbles, so the ratio would be 4 to 7. Part B. Write the ratio of blue marbles to green marbles. There are 9 blue marbles and 4 green marbles, so the ratio is 9 to 4. Part C. Write the ratio of red marbles to the total number of marbles. There are 7 red marbles and 20 total marbles, so the ratio would be 7 to 20.
You have the coins shown. Part A. Write the ratio of pennies to quarters. How many pennies do you have? 6 pennies. How many quarters? 7 quarters. So the ratio of pennies to quarters is 6 to 7. Part B. Write the ratio of quarters to dimes. Again, how many quarters do you have? 7 quarters. How many dimes? 3 dimes. So the ratio of quarters to dimes is 7 to 3. Part C. Write the ratio of dimes to the total number of coins. Again, how many dimes do you have? 3 dimes. How many total number of coins do you have? You have 6 pennies, 7 quarters, and 3 dimes. The total number of coins is 16. So the ratio of dimes to the total number of coins is 3 to 16.
Alright, so I'm going to ask you, and you're going to tell me what answer you got for each of the answers. So the first one was the ratio of cats to dogs. The ratio of cats to dogs. Number 5. What did you get as the ratio of cats to dogs?
Oh, wait, number 5.
Yep, of the Allen.
2 to 6.
You got 2 to 6. Now, how did you write that? Did you write out the words to, like the word to, or did you use the colon? Colon. Okay, so he wrote it like this right here. Rihanna, tell us, do you agree or disagree?
I agree.
Yeah, and you could have written it like this as well. 2 to 6, or 2 over 6 would also have been fine. Okay. The next one was ratio of cats to pets. Number 8. What did you get for cats to pets?
2 to 8.
You got 2 to 8. All right, Brooklyn, tell us, do you agree or disagree?
I agree.
Awesome. And the last one is the ratio of pets to dogs. Number 20, tell us, do you agree, or sorry, what did you get for pets to dogs?
8 to 6.
8 to 6. Okay. Number 19, do we have a number 19? Yes, Caleb, tell us, do you agree or disagree with that?
Agree.
Perfect. Alright, so y'all are doing awesome. And I thought I brought my mouse with me, but I guess I did not.
The mouse came home.
Alright, the next question says, what is the ratio of quarters to total number of coins? Quarters to total number of coins. Number 9, tell us, what did you get for quarters to total number of coins? You got 7 to 16. Alexis, tell us, do you agree or disagree?
I agree.
Perfect. Number 17. What did you get for the ratio of pennies to quarters?
6 to 7.
What?
Is it 6 to 7?
Okay, so 67. I was like, what is he
Uh,
talking about?
Cameron, tell us, do you agree or disagree? Agree. Perfect. And number 13. What did you get for dimes to pennies?
3 to 6. 3 to 6.
3 to 6.
3 to 6.
Rubies to diamonds on a ring is 1 to 2. Find and interpret the value of the ratio. The value of the ratio 1 to 2 is 1/2. So the multiplicative relationship is 1/2. Remember, the ratio is rubies to diamonds. So this means the number of rubies is 1/2 times the number of diamonds. Part B.
Hang on just a second. Okay, so I'll give you a moment to write that down. All right, so let's do example B.
That's right.
Make sure you pay attention and write down what she writes down. What I told you to a while ago.
Other ring, the number of rubies is 4 times the number of diamonds. Write the ratio of rubies to diamonds. Because the number of rubies is 4 times the number of diamonds, there are 4 rubies per 1 diamond. So the ratio of rubies to diamonds is 4 to 1.
Yeah, I'll pause it. Okay, now I'll give you time to write it down. It says, an elephant sanctuary contains adult and baby elephants. The ratio of adult to baby elephants is 5 to 1. Find and interpret the value of the ratio. Okay, so here's a kind of like a cheat shortcut to figure out how to interpret it. All right, if I can have everyone's attention, please, heads up, facing the front. Notice it says adult elephants to baby elephants. So it's adult to baby. And that ratio is 5 to 1. Okay, my first question is, what is the value of this ratio? Parker?
5.
5 over 1? Or you could just say 5. Either of those work. 5 over 1 or 5. Now, here's how you interpret it. You see the one that they listed first, which was adult elephants? You would say the number of the first one is the value times the number of the second. Okay, every time you interpret your value, it needs to look like this. So, if I can get you, without filling it in, just how I wrote this, I want you to put on your paper, no, go back to your notes. Go back to the page 21 of your notes. Okay, at the bottom, again, you doing okay? Okay, go back to your notes on page 21. At the bottom, I want you to put